Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're completely shattering the illusion of mechanical trading success. If you've been sitting there obsessing over finding that one perfect chart pattern or some hidden holy grail indicator, I really need you to just hit pause for a second. We're going to reveal the true ultimate edge here. And spoiler alert, you're not going to find it on a screen. It's found entirely between your ears. Okay, let's dive into this and hit you right away with a massive statistic, 90%. I want to create an immediate paradigm shift for you right now about where trading success actually comes from. Because honestly, if you don't grasp what this 90% represents, the other 10%, it's just not going to save your account. So here's what that 90% actually means. Trading is 90% psychology. It's the head stuff. 5% is money management, and a measly 5% is your actual strategy. Yet think about how the average trader spends their day, right? They spend 100% of their time stressing out over that tiny 5% strategy box. They're totally obsessing over a fraction of the game, while completely ignoring the engine that actually drives the whole thing. And to fix that engine, you gotta know what kind of mindset you're bringing to the desk. Basically, you either have the kind of vanilla fixed mindset of the arrogant know-it-all, the person who says, well, I read a book, so I have all the answers. Or you have the growth mindset. The growth mindset is like a sponge. To truly absorb the psychological lessons we're going through today, you have to be willing to be a sponge. You have to be totally open to rewiring how you think. Section 1, Curing Mindset Viruses. Let's get right into it. So, to rewire the brain, we first have to debug it. We really need to look at how our own minds and even past traumas are actively working against our trading accounts. Many of us are carrying around what you'd call viruses of the mind. Maybe you've got a doubting family member who constantly brings up that one time you failed. That right there, that's a virus. But the absolutely worst viruses are self-inflicted. There's this concept called learned helplessness. If you've blown your trading account 2 or 3 times, you've built up this massive negative foundation. Now, whenever you get a setup, you literally flinch when you go to click the mouse. It's exactly like an animal that's been conditioned to expect a shock. You're physically reacting to your own past trauma. And this brilliantly illustrates the exact core of the issue. Tony Robbins said, the only thing that's keeping you from getting what you want is a story you keep telling yourself. Your own internal narrative is literally your biggest obstacle right now. Every single time you say, man, I always mess this up, or why does the market always turn the second I enter, you're just validating a really destructive story. Section 2, the Psychology Toolkit. Let's look at how to actually fix this. Now, just agitating the problem isn't enough, right? We need a concrete, actionable solution to reprogram that broken internal dialogue. Enter the Neuro-Linguistic Programming, or NLP Toolkit. These are active techniques to literally rewire your brain. First, the swish pattern. This lets you mentally explode a negative trait and instantly replace it with a vision of your ideal self. Then there's the movie theater rewind, where you visualize your past trading mistakes from up in a projection booth, effectively distancing yourself from the raw emotion. And then, my personal favorite, the visual squash. Imagine a military sniper, calm, incredibly disciplined, just waiting for the perfect shot. You visually and physically model that sniper, squashing those precise traits right into your own body. But here's the catch. You can't just do this once. Discipline is a muscle. You have to go to the mental gym every single day. There was this study out of the University of London that found it takes on average 66 days to lock in a new habit. 66 days. You have to commit to practicing these mental techniques every single day for over 2 months before they just become your automatic reality. Moving on to Section 3, Building Your Mighty Why. Because doing that mental workout for 66 straight days, that requires some intense motivation. You need a deeply personal, fully documented reason for pushing through the inevitable pain and frustration of trading. The crucial point here is that writing down your long-term goals isn't just some self-help fluff. It is a statistical necessity for building wealth. Just look at this famous Yale study. They tracked graduates over 20 years and found that the 3% who had explicitly written down their goals were worth more financially than the other 97% combined. That is wild. If you don't have a massive, written mighty why taped right next to your monitor, you are actively choosing to be in the 97%. But once you have that massive goal, you gotta chunk it down so it doesn't totally crush you. You see novice traders constantly trying to make thousands of dollars right out of the gate, and they just blow up. Instead, chunk it down. Start with a tiny $600 micro account. Aim for just 10 or 20 bucks a day. You're not doing this to get rich today. You're doing this to build unshakable confidence, one winning strand at a time, without risking your rent money. Section 4. Daily Non-Negotiables. Let's see how this all builds into our daily execution. Because abstract psychology and big goals mean absolutely nothing if you don't treat your trading desk like a highly structured, professional prop firm business. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast between what builds a career and what kills it. On the left, we've got your daily non-negotiables: physical fitness to keep your focus razor sharp, daily affirmations to set your state of mind, and rigorous journaling. And on the right, career killers, sitting in front of what we call the idiot box, the TV, instead of doing your market prep, or trading when you're emotionally exhausted from an argument, which leads to ego depletion. Make no mistake, your daily habits directly dictate your bank account. And the absolute anchor of those positive habits is the daily report card. Every single day, you must ruthlessly audit your actions. What did you learn from today's wins? What did you learn from the losses? Did you constantly move your stop loss around, just hoping a bad trade would magically turn around? What are you going to do differently tomorrow? Look, if you don't know what your specific errors are, you literally can't fix them. Finally, Section 5, taking massive action. All right, listen to me very closely here. We've covered the psychology, the tools, the goals, and the daily habits, but all of this knowledge is completely and utterly useless without massive, determined execution. There are 3 absolute steps to lasting change. Number 1, raise your baseline standards. You have to stop accepting mediocrity from yourself. Number 2, change those limiting beliefs and viruses in your mind. And only then, number 3, change your trading strategy. Notice that? The strategy is the very last step. Raising your standards actually starts with your immediate reactions. When you hit a losing streak, you must forcefully interrupt your negative self-talk. The exact moment your brain says, "I can't do this, it's too hard," you have to, out loud, reframe it to, "Okay, what's the opportunity here? What is the market actually trying to teach me right now?" And sometimes, honestly, to break a truly terrible habit, you need a massive state shift. Think of that famous scene from the movie Network with Peter Finch. You might literally need to stand up from your desk, open the window, and yell, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take this anymore." You need to get furious at your own lack of discipline. Get angry at the fact that you keep moving your stops. You have to use that raw, visceral emotion to forcefully break your bad habits. Once you make that shift, you must commit completely. Burn the boats. There is absolutely no turning back. You can't just give trading a try to see if it works out. No way. You have to decide with absolute conviction that you are going to master your psychology and become the trader you were always meant to be. Which leaves us with one final, deeply personal question that you really need to answer before you take your very next trade. Who do you need to become? What precise traits, habits, and mindset must you build starting today to be one of the best traders in the world? Figure that out, write it down, and go to work.